Really?
Okay, I'm gonna pull up these slides real quick.
All the 5 decades. Boy George, the Spice Girls, cell phones, planes, ships, space. Take me to the stage.
I can take you to slide 2.
Red lines? More like red lights, am I right?
What?
It's electric, Jamie, electric!
This is a contract, Dan.
Suspects! We must interrogate the suspects. The sailors. We can get the sailors involved. Captain Ed! We need Captain Ed! Call him. I don't care if he's driving the ship. We need him. Call him.
I'm ready for my headshot.
And you've never looked more brilliant.
Well, hi, I'm Nathan, the Chief Marketing Officer at Virgin Voyages, and I'm excited today to be here to share with you some brilliant news. We're doing it from the Red Room on Scarlet Lady. We like to call her the OG, the original girl. Now, I'm not going to tell you too much now because I've got 2 very special guests with me to share that information. And they're going to tell you a lot about what we've got planned and what you can expect. The award-winning entertainment is about to get so much better. And don't forget, Brilliant Lady sets sail later this year in September and starts from New York. And if you're going to have great entertainment, that's the city to do it in. So you ready to go with me? Let's go. Today I've got joining 2 amazing colleagues of mine who I'm excited to have as part of the team and to tell you exactly what you can expect on Brilliant Lady. Now here's the thing. A little while ago, you might remember a video that featured Nirmal and Richard Branson. Well, I saw the call sheet for today and saw that Nirmal and Richard were going to be part of today. And then I realized it was Richard Kilman, the VP of Entertainment. So not quite as exciting, but good enough, I believe. So Nirmal and Richard, please come and join me.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, you're welcome. I mean, you are exciting in your own way.
That was an amazing intro.
Yeah.
It's really hyped you up.
Yeah.
Well, I think lower this, you know what they say, lower, and then you raise the bar, basically.
That's right.
Now,
Yeah.
thank you so much for being here today.
You're
Thank
very good.
you.
You're very good at this.
I'm a natural.
Yeah. I don't know why he's making fun of you being here.
So here's the question, Nirmal. If you look at what we've got on offer across the fleet right now, what's different to what you originally imagined and where we started a few years ago? Because there are quite a few things that have been going on, lots of changes. Why?
Why changes? Well, it's a good question. This brand, I really feel, has been built together with our sailors. We've always been a brand that's open to feedback. If you go back to Richard and what he stood for way back when, we're not afraid of trying things and things are working out. And I think what's really special about the brand right now where we are is that the product that's out there in the ocean, across Scarlet Lady, across Resilient Lady, across Valiant Lady, has really been built off based on feedback from our sailors. We'll be the first to be. We didn't get things quite right when we first came out to market. So we've been tweaking things. I'm really proud of some of the stories about that. If you think about cabins, when we first came out, people hated our cabins. They said they were from IKEA, I think it was the words. But then we went back and we took stock and we kind of redid the cabins. And I was really proud in that 2022, I think we won Best Cabin from Cruise Critic, right?
Exactly.
So, and entertainment, I think, has been part of that too. There's been some incredible shows from the very beginning, like Dual Reality, which I think just is an incredible piece of art. And kudos to Richard, obviously, in pulling that together. And I'm sure Richard's going to tell us more about stuff today. But we've been really listening to our sailors and understanding what's different, more comedy, more live music. That's made a huge difference. And so now when you look at what's out there on the ocean, it's really been built based on sailor feedback, and that's why the ratings have been so high.
But if you think about that journey you've been on, and you think about Brilliant Lady, what's going to be different? What can people expect when they get on board? We don't need to reveal the shows because that will come later. That's a secret we'll keep for later. But
yeah,
what's going to be different?
Well, look, if you think about the progression we've been on, right? And let's talk about entertainment in particular. When Resilient Lady launched, we were able to put together a pretty balanced entertainment offering, and I was really proud that ship won Best Entertainment within her first 6 months of operating. Right, so again,
pretty fast, Richard.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, and look, one of the challenges we've had is we've been launching our ships very quickly, and so when you launch your ships very quickly, it's hard to keep up with all the feedback and make the adjustments. And with Resilient, we were able to take a lot of the feedback we got, put it in place. And with Brilliant, what's so exciting is that we've had a nice year and a half now to really get everything right and get all that feedback and really build something that I think is really going to excite people and really take our entertainment to the next level. So, we've got award-winning entertainment already, and we've challenged Richard to make it even better. So Brilliant Lady has an incredibly exciting lineup, and I think when you get into this video later, people are going to be very excited by what Richard's put together.
So Richard, here's a question for you. You've been on a long journey with us, and I remember the very first time I met you was in the New York office before you flew off to be with Nirmal to start talking about designing spaces on a brand you'd never worked on a ship you'd never seen. And it was kind of crazy. And there was even a moment where I think you and I, a few weeks later, were traveling together, and I left you on a train, and you sort of ended up sort of driving off into the sunset without me, basically. But if you project back and think about where we are today versus where we were then, has it been what you thought it would be? Are you excited by what's coming? Or do you feel like, there's still so much more that you want to do?
Wow, that's a lot. And it's been a wild journey, and seeing how the whole brand, including entertainment, evolved during that time, and what we have teed up for Brilliant Lady is incredibly exciting, incredibly fulfilling to have the opportunity to do this. From the early days of getting stuck on a train to jumping on a plane in 24 hours and, okay, we got to hurry up and design this ship, to making this incredible theater that we all made together, and then programming all the entertainment in it, and the journey has been incredible.
Now, there's
Can I say, I want to give Richard a ton of credit because he's been the driving force behind everything we've done. And I remember when we first started, we challenged him and said, we don't want you to license shows, because that's what other people do. We want you to create stuff. And that's a lot of risk in creating stuff from scratch. And we said to him, we want you to create something so good that it has the potential to actually play in land-based theaters. And he did it. If you look at Dual Reality, first ever show to be created for a cruise line that's been licensed to be in land-based theaters. And we set a pretty high bar for him, and I give him a ton of credit. He's been fantastic in working out how to kind of rise up to that challenge. So it's pretty proud of Richard, actually. I'm pretty proud that he's part of the team.
Did you have a moment when Nirmal said that to you, no licensing of shows, you went, oh, great.
Yeah.
Got to start
Yeah,
off from scratch.
Because he had licensed shows before in his past life. So Richard's
We
been in the
had.
industry for a while.
We have.
And so he knows all of the typical cruise industry entertainment and how it all works. And it's typically licenses, right? It's what you do, right?
It is a lot of licenses, or production shows, as they call them, which feel similar across different ships, different lines, and we just really wanted to make our mark and do something different, And when we met with all the different creatives that helped us get to where we were with launching Scarlet Lady with all these different shows, it was like nothing that's ever been done on a ship before. And I mean, having a flat floor space where you could do a show, dual reality in an alley stage configuration, never been possible before in the cruise industry. And with the ability to create the space and then have these creative teams, we just said, make some art for us, right? We want something incredibly different. We explained to them what the vision for this brand was, how we really wanted to shake up the cruise industry and create our own place in the cruise industry. And you guys were part of it. They came back and pitched us these wild concepts. And
Some a little too wild.
Some a little too wild, there's no question.
Interesting point, though. And I don't mean to cut you off, but this is like a 60 minutes interview, so I'm going to cut you off and move.
Okay, good.
But wild is an interesting question because Nirmal,
enjoying that seat
I
too
went
much.
to a site called Reddit, and I scoured the internet to see what people were saying about the shows, and there are still lots of questions out there. People saying, is Virgin too edgy for me? Are these shows too crazy for me? How do you respond to that?
Well, I'd say the answer is they're not too edgy. They're not too out there for people. And the awards we've won, I think, are a testament to that. We've won Best Cruise Line now, Travel and Leisure, Condé Nast 2 years in a row. We've won Best Entertainment from Cruise Critics. So, the shows do have mass appeal. And so I would ask all those people that have that perception to reconsider us. I can understand why they might have that perception, though, because when we first had our entertainment on board Scarlet Lady, we did have 1 or 2 shows that, for a small group of people, pushed things a little bit. But unfortunately, the reality was that those 1 or 2 shows ended up being the thing that everyone talked about. Well, in reality, probably 15% of the ship saw that versus 100% of the ship seeing dual reality. And so what I'd prefer the conversation to be about is award-winning shows like Dual Reality, and less about sort of shows that are a little bit on the fringes. And we've really learned from that. If you look at the entertainment offerings now across the ships, particularly Resilient Lady, it's a very balanced offering on board. And we don't really have that feedback anymore. And one of the reasons why I'm glad you brought that up is I always, whenever I meet a sailor, or potential sailor, and they say to me, "Oh, I thought about Virgin. I thought maybe it's too much for me, or I thought maybe I'll feel out of place." And for those of you that have sailed, and I'm sure that you guys know this, right? These ships are some of the most welcoming places you'll ever be on, right? No one feels out of place on board a Virgin Voyage, and we are very thoughtful about that in the way that we train our crew, the way we ask our crew, everybody. You're not too old, you're not too young, you're not too pretty, you're not too whatever the opposite of not pretty is, or whatever. Everyone's beautiful, right? And that's the magic of these ships. And so I would really encourage people to say that if you're traveling without kids, then Virgin Voyages is for you, and you're going to feel so welcomed, feel at home. There's a space for everybody on these ships. And I'd love to move the conversation away from, well, maybe I'll be out of place.
So on that then, this is also the ship that ultimately has a whole range of itineraries that are longer. They go on for days and days. We're talking up to 11 nights, which is amazing. It sounds cool if you're someone who loves longer cruises, because it does let you go deeper and explore things. But we are really well famous for 5 and 4 night voyages. We've built a great reputation in 6 night voyages. Here's the hard-hitting question, Nirmal, and you can ask Richard if you need to. Are you sure I'm not going to be bored on a longer voyage?
Well, I'm sure you're not going to be bored on a Virgin Voyage, full stop. But it's a fair comment. When we first started, we were very focused on our 4 and 5 night short cruises out of Miami, and then we started evolving, and we had some transatlantics we had to do to move our ships into the Mediterranean. And I remember the first transatlantic, we were very worried about would we have enough for things to do, and actually Richard and I talked a lot about that, and we gave him an extra budget to bring comedians in, bring lecturers in, and he called it Festival Stage at the time, and actually that became the template for how we've thought about entertainment for longer voyages across the whole fleet, where we bring in specialized acts that are more attuned to longer voyages. We put a lot more things for people to do during the day. A lot of people felt at the beginning that our sea days were a bit light in terms of activities, so we put a lot more things in for the sea days. So now, I think the feedback we get is that there's really not a lot of downtime. Sometimes people are saying to us, maybe there's too much to do on board the sea days and across the longer voyages. So it's been a challenge for us, but Richard, I think, and the team have done a really good job. And Festival Stage, I think, Richard, was really the start of that, right? Was those transatlantics. And now Festival Stage pretty much sits across any deeper voyage, right? Longer voyage on the ship, fleet,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, Festival Stage has become part of our regular programming. On every ship we have it. And when we do the longer voyages, we bring extra acts on, and we try to have a balance of variety. Sometimes it's comedy, sometimes it's comedy magic, sometimes it could be a vocal group, and so on and so on. There's our team's done a great job at finding a lot of this talent in a very short period of time. And so it's become a good part of the program. And the great thing about Festival Stage as well is that these acts cycle on and off every 2 to 4 weeks. So if someone's coming back to the ship, there's a very good chance they're going to see something different that they didn't see the last time.
So if you're looking for new acts and shows for things on the Go Deeper voyages, why did you reject my show Iceberg Ahead for the transatlantic?
We're still working on it. Still in development.
It was a musical, would have been amazing. I mean,
But when you say, it's interesting because you've said this phrase, go deeper voyages. I think you mean the more immersive voyages, right?
I think the whole point we would say is that this brand is an experience-led brand. And sometimes the cruise industry gets a reputation for not really letting people immerse themselves in spaces. And the wonderful thing I think about the voyages that go a little bit longer is you have time.
Yeah.
Longer stays in port, more time at sea, obviously the chance to explore a lot deeper. And I think that's the thing that I love most. It's almost the true culmination of what this brand always wanted to do. A true Virgin experience in amazing places, but also when you're on board, a very special place to be.
No, it's actually it's true, because if you think about it, a lot of the feedback we get from the 4 and the 5 night sailings is people love the time on board, but they didn't get to do everything they wanted to do. And as we've now been introducing these longer voyages, these go deeper voyages, it's a great opportunity for those repeat sailors to come back and actually get to try all the restaurants, get to see all the entertainment, get to do all the different happenings, see some of these Festival Stage acts. And that's been a big part of the reason why we've introduced these longer voyages into the itineraries, because we've had this feedback, particularly from our repeat sailors, that they want some more interesting destinations. They want more time on the ships. They also want more time in the ports. So typically we have late stays and overnights in all of our itineraries, particularly on these go deeper voyages, particularly in the Med. So that's a big part of why we have these voyages. But to your point, I do think sometimes these voyages aren't well understood, but there's going to be plenty of things for people to do on these voyages. And so it's exciting to be able to talk about them.
The thing is, as you walk around the ships and you speak to our loyalty sailors or you speak to first mates, is the sort of sentiment the same about what they love and what they'd like to see change? Or is there distinctions between first mates and sailors and what they're sort of saying they want to see from you? And if you can think about those two groups, what's the most important one for our loyalty sailors that you want them to know about Brilliant Lady? And what do you want first mates to know about Brilliant Lady?
So for our loyalty sailors, I'd want them to know that we are delivering on the expectation that there should be new entertainment, new food, and new experiences. People love the fact that our ships are the same. There's a comfort in knowing they're the same, the comfort in knowing how to make your way around the ships. But I do think the feedback is fair that people want to see some updated menus, some updated restaurant concepts. They also want to see some updated entertainment, particularly our production shows. So they're going to see that on Brilliant Lady, a lot of that. They're also going to see these, we just talked about, these deeper itineraries, because they want to go deeper into, they want to see more ports, they want to go to different places with us, because there's only so many times you can go to Key West and Bimini. Although Bimini I think is fantastic. I'd rather go to Bimini on every voyage if I could.
Also, I think we should have a voyage which is just like Bimini out, Bimini out, Bimini.
We've had that feedback,
No,
actually.
it's
We have had
useful.
that feedback.
They love
Bimini
it.
is great. But being able to go to different ports, and the thing about Brilliant that I think is really exciting is we're going to be able to introduce the brand into markets where we have people fly down to Miami. Instead of flying out of Miami, they can drive across. So the New York area, West Coast with LA, and Alaska. I mean, Alaska voyages are selling like hotcakes, which is fantastic. We knew people would be excited about them, but I've been blown away with how excited people are about that. One place I'd say that people are still trying to get their head around is Miami. To be honest with you, I don't think we've got a good enough job in communicating that Brilliant Lady will have some long sailings out of Miami, so no need to fly into San Juan. You can get into the deeper Caribbean from Miami, get to spend more time on her. And so that I think will be very exciting once people really understand that. So that's what the loyalty sailors have been asking for. And I'd say our other sailors, even new to brand sailors, when we look at the feedback, it's the same sort of stuff of, I want to come back and explore something different with you. Where else can you take me? And so that's been the progression for us as a brand, is introducing more itineraries, longer itineraries. So now you have short itineraries, you've got medium itineraries, and you've got these longer, go deeper itineraries, and so it completes the itinerary set. And I would argue kind of makes us a grown-up cruise line now. Before I think we were just sort of one product. Now we have the full set of products, and I've sort of said to our team, we're kind of growing up.
We're so adult now. I guess you.
Oh, wow, that's nice.
Thank you, Russ. It was actually a,
Nice.
it
What
you
was a
did there?
segue
Yeah.
into no kids, no
should be- you
compromises
should
when
be
you get on
marketing.
board. Well, I tried my hardest.
Yeah.
I appreciate you saying that. I'm going to
Yeah.
use that back when we have our performance review time. So look, before we actually reveal the entertainment, because people are saying, well, they're really padding this out, aren't they?
Oh, they are,
basically?
yeah.
Why don't we tell them about the new restaurants? No, we're not. We're kidding. That was a joke. We're not. Right, Billy. I know the food reveal's coming later. It's all fine. Don't worry. Thank you. So the last thing I want to ask you, though, why is Brilliant Lady ultimately your favorite ship? Because it feels like you've chosen her because she goes to New York, Miami, through the Panama Canal, which pretty much sold out, to LA, up to Seattle, and then Alaska. It feels like you favored her. The others have to work over and head over to Europe, and I just want to know why. Why you like her better?
You go first on that one. Taking that one.
It's the new toy. I think Brilliant Lady represents a lot of things. So we have 3 ships in a couple of years really operating these ships in a very tight timeline, and we've taken a lot of learnings and applied it to Brilliant Lady. On a design side, on a food side, on an entertainment side, overall experience side. I think there's a lot of refinement that's happened over the time that we've been in operation. And it's exciting to know that we're getting the chance to really display that on this ship. As part of this launch, I think people are going to really love it across the board.
Yeah, and I think what Richard said makes sense. We've taken all that feedback, as we talked about earlier, and really use that to build this experience of Brilliant Lady. And so I'm excited about the fact that this is the first time we've been able to take feedback for multiple years, put it all together across all aspects of the experience. I mean, people have always loved our crew. We keep investing in our crew. It's the thing that makes our voyages special. But it's fair to want more food and more entertainment and different kind of offerings. So it'll be exciting to be able to reveal all of it soon.
All right, so sort of like a speed round question for both of you. Imagine you've met somebody who hasn't sailed with us, and they literally say to you, well, why should I? And I want you to tell them this. What is the thing you would tell them is your favorite entertainment experience on board and your favorite entertainment space? And they don't have to be the same thing. They can be different. They can be completely uncoupled. Start with you, Richard. What's your favorite entertainment experience and what's your favorite entertainment space?
That's a tough one, but I would have to say my favorite entertainment experience is Scarlet Night. And the reason for that is because it's the penultimate moment
Do you
on
get
the
in the
voyage.
pool? Do you jump in the pool?
I'll plead the fifth.
Me too.
I think
Everyone knows you do.
Well,
mate.
I get in trouble.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Don't tell
right.
the legal
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
so. When we talk about that, our vision was to create a brand that brought people to connect. That brought people together, foster connection, help foster relationships, whether it's renewing relationships, new relationships. Scarlet Knight represents that in the strongest way because we are activating the whole ship. There's surprise and delight moments happening everywhere. Sailors can choose to experience Scarlet Knight the way they are most comfortable doing it. We see some sailors following the performers around. Some sit in one place and let that come to them. Some have dinner and have little moments in their dinner. But at the end of the night, everyone goes up to the pool deck in that moment where we have created one community of people that are all there, excited about that same thing, that same moment, and they just let loose and have the best time together. And that, for me, is the best moment on every voyage. As far as a favorite space, gosh, I think the Red Room because, the Red Room transforms into so many different configurations. And the thing about this space is every theater on every ship, millions of dollars are invested in these theaters. And we said to ourselves, what if we could make our theater work a little bit harder and do more and engage our sailors with different types of experiences more? And we now program this space from morning till midnight, every day of the voyage. And you just can't do that in any other theater. So I think this is my favorite space.
One other question before I pass to Nirmal. This is a very inclusive brand. If you don't wear red on Scarlet Knight, are you allowed to attend?
Absolutely.
Okay, I just wanted to check that. So, no, favorite entertainment experience. It's only because last time I forgot.
All we asked for is a splash. You could wear red socks or,
But what if you don't do that?
I mean,
It's fine, right?
it's all
It's
good.
fine.
Actually, Billy, he's like the anti-establishment person. So even though he's part of the brand team, he's like, no, I don't wear red. I wear my own stuff, basically.
Yeah.
That's going navigating your own path, which you're allowed to do as well.
You are.
I find it actually, I love Scarlet Knight. I do find it a little exhausting only because I struggle because I feel like I have to see everything and I've got to learn to go and, go at my own speed a little bit better. Nirmal, favorite space, favorite event.
So event, I've said dual reality in the past when you've asked me that, but I'm going to answer it differently today. I actually like the live bands we do it on the rocks now. And what I love about that is, I'm always walking the ship. When I'm on board, I'm walking the ship all the time late into the night because I kind of want to see what's going on. I'm so intrigued. So I'm always popping between the Red Room, the Manor, on the rocks and seeing lots of things. On the rocks is our cocktail bar that's on deck 6 for those that have been on our ships. And I love seeing the live bands there because I love seeing the vibe and the atmosphere that happens there. People get up and they start dancing, they start singing, and it's just people of all different ages and they're all relaxing and having a great time. And Rich has done a fantastic job in curating those different bands through there. There's a lot of house favorites within the group. I don't want to name any of them in particular because I'll probably get in trouble.
Right.
But there've been a lot of them with us for a long time as well. And even those bands, they've been on multiple voyages, but they've been also reworking their sets and getting different things in there. And that's really exciting for me to see. So I think that's probably my favorite entertainment
So
experience.
did you use space and entertainment? You kind of combined it.
Oh, space. Manor.
Okay, why?
Because it's a very, much like the Red Room, it's a multifunction space. So it's an incredible nightclub. You go there in the evenings and it's incredible. And people who want to party in the evenings can do that. But during the day, it's hosting talk shows. It's hosting VHS workout. We've got bands that can play in there. And then we've got the dinner show now that we can do. Another Rose, our dinner show in Brazilian. I love Another Rose. But that space is just such a multi-form space. And that was the key when we designed all these spaces. Richard alluded to it. We wanted to create spaces that could be very flexible so we could work harder so we could do more things in them. And the Manor, I just think, is a beautiful space. And I love that walk through to the Manor. And I love seeing people's faces when the first time when they walk through that, you just sort of see them look around and everybody feels glamorous in that. And I always make this saying, I always say to you, Nathan, that I feel like everybody should feel glamorous on a Virgin voyage, right? No matter who you are. And when you walk through that Manor walkway, you can't help but feel glamorous.
There is definitely a moment where you walk into that space and you can't help but smile. And there's that sort of moment where there's a lovely level of respect that everyone gives each other, because everyone wants that photo moment, because it is the most photographed place on the ship.
Yeah.
And it is quite lovely that everyone's like, it's okay, we'll wait, because
Yeah.
we want our photo there, basically. So I do love the sort of conviviality it creates, but also, as you said, the glamour it creates. Now,
Yeah, well, what I say is also is, in all the stuff that we're talking about, one of the biggest piece of feedback that I've heard more recently, which I've loved hearing, I bumped into a sailor last time I was on, and he was actually an English sailor.
I have to, sorry, you rarely bump into sailors. You literally go and talk to them all.
Well,
You're like, hey, can I grab you for a few
No,
minutes? It's you talking to the crew or talking to the sailors.
Well,
If
it
you're
was
traveling
a-
with Nirmal, you've got to basically put an hour and a half into your schedule, because you just never get to the other end of the ship unless you basically put a blindfold on.
well, I like talking to people.
Yes, yes, you do.
Yeah, so it's good to get feedback.
No, of course.
But
and you should.
at my place, I bumped into the sailor, and he said to me, I don't know what you've done on this ship, but you made me feel young. And I've never vacationed like that before. And that's the reason I keep coming back and over again. And I think that's one of the wonderful things about this experience, and particularly because of the entertainment experiences. No matter how old you are or young you are, everybody feels young, and everyone feels young at heart, feels youthful, feels energetic. And I remember he saying to me, he's like, I would have never thought that I'd be, however old, in my 60s and dancing in a pool ever. And kudos to you, because you made me feel young, and I love this brand for that.
So, Nirmal, I've got another question for you, because we talked about feedback and listening to people, listening to our sailors, our first mates, and even our crew about how we think about Brilliant Lady and what we've learned from that. What's something you heard from the crew that you listened to that you decided was important that you would change?
This is, again, a bit technical. You're asking me really tough questions.
Well, because I'm trying to get another job as a hard-hitting reporter in my own podcast channel.
So what I heard from the crew in that voyage was that because we've been planning the Brilliant Lady ramp up, we were having some trouble with notifications around contract lengths and having to extend some people, shorten some people. So, and it was fair. The crew was saying, can we get it a bit more standardized? So we fixed that now, and that's in a much better place. But it was all because we were starting up our ramp on Brilliant Lady, and so when we do that, we typically will take the majority of the ship being returning crew, and then we'll have a small number of new crew to the family in that. So we just got to get that balance right.
Okay.
So.
Now, one last question, then. I've got actually a device here, because the real questions, the hard-hitting ones, are on here, and because I don't want it to be awkward, I'm going to read them in just a moment, and that also means Billy won't yell at me for missing a key question, and that's the reveal. Everyone, the reveal is coming. So, Nirmal, is this ship also just designed for millennials?
That's a trick question, because none of our ships are designed for millennials.
Exactly, you win. You're right.
Perfect. Passed.
No, I think that's obviously a final question. I was, again, on Reddit, and I noticed that Doris from Iowa, who's 67, asked the question, is this experience, is this brand right for me? Her and her husband, they like a nice little quiet voyage, they like to go away, but they also like a little bit of energy. They do like to go out, but I'm just, as I think about that particular myth that we hear all the time, how do you show people, how do you assure them that no matter what age you are, except under 18, that this ship is for you?
Well, the first thing I'd say to everybody is, we wouldn't be winning all these big awards like Travel and Leisure and Condé Nast if this brand didn't have mass appeal across multiple age groups. I also do think if you look at the reason why Virgin Voyages exists, why we believe that we have a place in the market, and why everyone understands now that if you're traveling with our kids, then Virgin Voyages should be part of your consideration set, is that people are looking for these experiences that make them feel young again. And there's a lot of great product in our industry. There's a lot of great family product. There's a lot of great product for people that are older, but that product tends to be a little bit sleepier. Tends to have not a lot of variety on food, not a lot of variety on entertainment. And nowadays, people want to feel young, but they also want variety, and they want things that feel more energetic and more youthful. They want to be able to go see a live band. They want to be able to go see a show like Dual Reality. They want to be able to experience something like Scarlet Night, or just sit in the hammock and read a book like you can on a Virgin Voyage. So.
What's a book?
It was a great book. Have you read Richard's books? They're great.
Yeah, I love them. Actually, in fact, I just read them.
I'm hoping
every day.
that'll make up for my little gaffe earlier about
every
saying that
day.
he doesn't lift heavy weights.
Only if you bought them rather than got them for free, I'd say.
Yeah, exactly. But to your point, people feel very welcome on board these ships. It doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are. These ships are a community of people, and so I'd say to Doris from Iowa, you won't feel out of place. There'll be plenty for you to do. and I bet you'll leave this ship feeling young again.
I think it's a lovely thing for all of us to think about the energy we have and the life we lead. And when you're on land, some of the crazy we have to deal with. And when you're at sea, being that very best version of yourself. So hearing that feedback and responding to that is important. But Richard, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Because let's be very clear.
Hit me.
This is not going to be easy. Look, feedback matters. We know that. And initially when we started out, there was a lot of conversations about the type of entertainment. Did we have enough entertainment? And you did give some great answers. I'm not sure they were good enough for me. So I do want to ask you this sort of thing. As you look at Brilliant Lady, as you think of the construct of the way you've put the program together, what would you say was the most compelling piece of feedback that you wanted to make sure you addressed as you built this particular lineup for this particular ship?
I think across the board, people want to feel that this is for them, that there's something familiar or that makes them feel comfortable about it, which it could be the music, a storyline, something that feels familiar, and then you've got them. When, we'll use Untitled Dance Show Party Thing as an example, which is a beloved show by many, and there are some people whose reaction to it was like, I don't know what this is, I don't like this, I don't recognize this music, I don't understand what's happening. So we try to take that learning, and that, on Resilient Lady, where we did Persephone, right? We still had a flat floor show, but now we have a storyline, we have popular music, people engage with it, they enjoy it. And so on Brilliant Lady, with our longer voyages, we thought it would be a smart thing to do to have more familiar theater feeling content where people could come in and sit down and watch something. It doesn't mean there won't be things that might happen in the audience or they won't be engaged, but it'll be a more familiar setting for seeing a show. The Red Room still transforms to do all of our other programming that we do in here, but in terms of having 450 people in here to watch something, that was the first thing we thought about. So having that familiar setting, theater style, great production, familiar music, really cool costumes and production is what sort of the beginning of the conversation was, right? We know we want to have 4 shows in this venue, and so 2 of them are going to be in proscenium mode, where we can have that familiarity for people.
The thing, though, I guess that leads us to is, though, how do you go about building, where the space is already designed, a whole new lineup, though? Like, ultimately, how do you do that?
It's a big team effort, I will say. The team works really hard on trying to figure out what are the things that have worked really well for us, and how do we take those elements and bring them into new concepts and new ideas. And so for Brilliant Lady, we think we've done that. We think we've done it really well. We have proscenium style shows, we have an alley style show.
That's a very fancy word. What does that mean?
A proscenium style stage is your traditional theater. So that's where...
Like this one, the one we're sitting on right now?
That's right.
And the audience is over there.
Audience is there, stage is here,
Why
you're
do you have
sitting,
that word
you're
that
watching.
No one else uses? The humans don't use that word. Why don't you just say stage?
Theater goers use that.
You're right, that's because they're fancy.
Yeah.
It's true, yes.
Actually, Nirmal's favorite phrase from many years ago, do you remember what it was? Because you used to use it.
Oh, yes, I do.
What's Nirmal's favorite phrase?
Nirmal loves pipe and drape.
I'm still not sure why. So, Richard, keep going.
It was in our conversations about when he used to tell me it would cost so much money to do certain things, and I'd say, I don't understand. Why can't we just put some pipe and drape up?
That's right.
And get the show done.
The funniest thing is when you are talking about the blend of talent and the show and the pipe and drape sort of program, that moment of like going, when I remember you, Nirmal, saying, but what do you mean, Richard? It's meant to be a black box. It's meant to be stripped back. It's meant to be raw. Why do you need that? All right,
Okay.
Richard, are you ready? The
I'm
hard-hitting
ready.
questions. This is my Lester Holt moment for you, basically. So the first thing I want to ask you is
I think so.
the creative process. How do you even start at the very beginning and make this happen? Like, seriously, how do you build a lineup for Brilliant Lady?
I think it's looking at what's worked in the past the best and bringing those elements into these new ideas and trying to come up with different subject matter to address in our shows, things that people haven't seen before.
So some of the words I've heard about other shows that have been produced are things like weird, crazy, edgy. What do you do about that when you're actually putting that lineup together? How do you think about the blend of things then to make sure there's enough of variety for people?
I think that those things are all really good qualities to have, and I think what we've learned about and are focusing on is the right balance of those things. You do want to keep it a little bit edgy in some ways, but not too much. But you need to keep people. You need to keep people on the edge of their seat. You need them to be engaged and wondering what's going to be next. You can't be so predictive of what it's going to be. It's got to be exciting.
I think if I add, we also wanted to add our Virgin twist to things. We've heard long from our sailors that they don't want to sit and just watch a review of music. They don't want to sit and watch ballroom dancers on stage. They want something with a twist, something with an edge to it. So a show like Dual Reality has that. A show like Persephone has that, right? There's a familiarity of that music. It's a story that's well known, but it's told in a completely dynamic and different way. And that's the beauty of what Richard and his team have been able to do for all these years. And I think Brilliant Lady, as we reveal it, I hope we're going to reveal something at some point. We've been talking for a long time.
We're almost there.
You're going to see that he's actually managed to perfect that.
I think it's an interesting word, edgy. I think that's a fascinating, sort of challenging word, because in the end, one person's edge might not even be anything near like something for another person. So the question though is anything different about the spaces? Is anything happening at a technological level that's different? Or because you have a name, Brilliant Lady. What's brilliant about that?
I think that technologically speaking, it's very much the same equipment that we have had. There's a couple of new things we're playing with, which I'm not going to reveal today because we don't know if it works yet or not, but we are playing around with some new things. But the technology in this theater is incredible. I mean, having these moving LED screens that twist and raise, and I mean, nobody has that. To have stage lifts all over the place, to have a retractable seating system and lighting and sound everywhere. It's the whole idea with creating the space was to make a playground where creatives could really create experience and know that we have the technology to support them.
Two-part question.
Okay.
The phrase you once used as we were at a conversation about Brilliant Lady and what you're thinking about was, you want to make sure there's something for everyone. What did that mean to you? And what did that mean to your team?
It was really about trying to make sure that all sailors on board felt like they could have access to whatever it is we were doing in here. There's been some shows, like I said, we've had some hit shows that some people just haven't felt like this is for them. We'd really love to get to the point where most everyone on board feels like everything is for them.
Another interesting phrase that Nirmal then used, though, as we discussed, that was something for everyone, whoever they are that day. Because I think the way you used the context was, it depends how you feel. Sometimes you feel like you've got more energy than others. So I loved the way you sort of talked about the idea that you work at your own speed, you get entertained at your own speed. Do you think that really is important when you've got a ship with a couple of thousand people you're trying to entertain on board?
I think you've always got to offer a balance. And the great thing about our ships is that at any point in time, there's multiple things to do. We would come to a Red Room and experience one of our production shows, go to the Manor, experience a band or a dinner show or a festival act or a comedian, go to On the Rocks and see a live band or grab a nice cocktail, even go back to the dock and maybe see a DJ or a soloist playing. So we always wanted to offer lots of different things for people to do because people's energy levels change during the voyage, right? Some days you want to be active and energetic, some days you want to just sit back and relax, some days you want a quiet moment with your partner. Some days you want to be out with a group of friends doing things, right? So, the wonderful thing about our ships is that we do have that balance on the ships. And that's one of the things Richard and I have talked a lot about is balance, particularly for Brilliant Lady, is making sure that balance is in there. So when we finally get around to this entertainment reveal, and we're like, 30 minutes in still? I'm like, I keep asking, is he going to get to it, right? Hopefully people will see that there is an entertainment reveal.
Did you actually finish it? Because I thought we hadn't done it.
Work in progress.
Okay, good. Well, the reason is, Nirmal, on YouTube, the longer your content, the more you can monetize it. So I thought if we could just keep people going in, a whole new revenue stream of the podcast would be great. So
I nearly crossed my legs that I decided not to.
You'll get in trouble.
I get in trouble. Billy out there in the TV land will get in trouble.
You will. And he's very, very judgy. Last question, two-parter again.
Okay.
What was the most transformative piece of feedback that rings in your ears every single day as you think about what you're about to launch on Brilliant Lady?
Not pipe and drape?
Definitely pipe and drape.
Doesn't have to be Nirmal's feedback. Like, is there something you're going to go, I remember that conversation, I remember that moment?
I think when, looking at sailor feedback, and even some of the first mates who I've gotten to know that have been very generous with sharing their thoughts, of their personal thoughts as well as their clients. When you hear about something that just wasn't appealing to someone, or that, you feel like, I feel like I let this person down, that we want we want them to feel like they can come to anything and feel welcome and feel like this is for them. So I think that is the biggest thing. I think that is the biggest takeaway for us, is really trying to nail that.
Second part of that question. It's 6 months from now. Brilliant Lady's launched. She's actually out there in the ocean sailing the 7 seas, and sailors are having a great Scarlet night. You're standing on the pool deck. You're just looking over the crowd and sort of seeing the joy and happiness that we see on Scarlet night every time we sail. And it feels special, but someone standing next to you, Doris from Iowa, what do you want her to say to you about what she's experienced on board the ship and what she's seen in entertainment?
Doris, Doris, I would love you to tell us that we surprised you, that we made you feel happy, comfortable, and the best week of your life.
So, are we ready? Can you do the drum thing on your legs maybe for me, like where it's like we're doing the reveal?
Billy said I can't do much with my
legs,
legs.
but
Sorry, I
start
could
with
do it
the
with my
legs.
hands, but I can't really do much with my legs. Sorry.
All right, so we're
So
ready
hands,
to
you want
go.
hands?
Well, please, if you could do
Okay.
that, because I think it's time, Richard, don't you?
Let's go.
Are you ready, Richard?
I'm so ready.
So, well, after Nirmal giving me a very hard time about the length of the non-reveal of the reveal,
Oh, we're finally here.
it is
Okay.
it is the
I
moment.
was starting to wonder whether this is like some other kind of thing, like you had some other agenda here.
Well, generally I do, but today we are about to do the reveal. And are you ready, Richard? Are you ready to reveal?
Let's do it.
Okay. The very first major exciting show that you want to talk about today is...
This just in. We interrupt this very cool entertainment video with an important update from legal. Good evening, brand team. We have not yet received clearance on the beep show. At this time, we would advise against using it in any public-facing marketing collateral, which could put the company at trademarking risk. Thanks. The Virgin Voyages legal team. P.S. Please stop sending our emails to spam. We know you're doing that.
The very first major exciting show that you want to talk about today is... Tell us about it.
In many ways is our most ambitious work, because it is putting on stage a celebration, a tribute to the Virgin brand and Sir Richard Branson himself. And trying to capture all of that into a show, no easy task, but we had a lot of fun putting this together. Starting with the music by many Virgin record artists, amazing choreography, singing, dancing, all the things that you would expect in a stage show, and special moments acknowledging different periods of time in the Virgin lifespan.
That does sound very ambitious, Richard.
I can say I watched the workshop of this, so the part of the creative process, Richard conceived something with the creative team, and he's got a great group of people that work with him. And they do a workshop, and there's just a workshop in New York where they present it. And I gotta say, I was so proud watching it. There's some great music in the Virgin Records family and albums. And you get to kind of get a little insight into kind of just Richard and kind of his life and all the things he stood for. And you can't help but watch that and just feel pride of working for this brand and what Richard's achieved. And I think, all our loyal sailors in particular and all those people that have loved the Virgin brand for 50 years now are going to love this show in particular.
It is. It ends on such a high note. It's touching, it's happy, it's full of energy and inspiration. I think the sailors are going to love it.
What if Richard doesn't like it? Do we just not tell him about it?
Let's just not tell him about it. Yeah. I got to tell you, I've worked for the brand for 18 years, and I was watching this, the workshop of it, and I just couldn't help but feel so proud to be part of this brand. You just see this, there's a magic in this brand for 50 years now, and there aren't many brands that have elicited a feeling like this. And that's what this show does a great job of doing. So I'm excited.
100%.
Kudos to Richard.
Well, that sounds really exciting, Richard. I really hope one day you'll invite me to see it. So I thought we were going to do the next show, actually, Richard, but I've realized I just got a note from Billy and it says we're out of time. So it's a real shame, actually. So thanks very much for being
my
here.
goodness.
He's really good at this.
My kids always tell me that I'm full of dad jokes.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
Well, that's because I clearly am on a kid-free ship, so someone has to bring the dad joke. So first of all, Richard, Out of Time. What is Out of Time about? Because it feels like it's going to go for a very short time.
Out of Time is our time traveling adventure. So led by Dr. Victoria Vortex and her sidekick. A time machine experiment goes horribly wrong, and the doctor and her crew get transported to multiple times and places. You might see something from the Roaring 20s, you might see something in the future in a different world, and all kinds of things in between. And of course, they have to hurry up and fix the time machine before it's too late and they can't get back home. It features comedic singers, high kicking dancers. It's great fun. It's silly. It doesn't take itself seriously at all. It's just a good, fun time. And there's some really cool tech we're incorporating into the show.
Is high kicking dancer an actual name of a dancer? I'm a high kicking dancer.
That's exactly right.
How does one?
That's what our
train that?
casting breakdown says. High kicking dancers needed for, yeah.
So first one was based on Virgin history, which we love. The second one, out of time, comedic, fun, and a little bit crazy, it sounds like.
That's exactly right.
Okay. Well, I think we actually should think about our next one.
Oh, wow.
Right. Number 3, lucky number 3. This show is called Up with a Twist. What is that about?
Up with a Twist is the next installment in our Supper Club series. So we've had some great success with our Supper Club shows. Up with a Twist is one where from the moment you enter the Manor, you're going to encounter a glamorous, elevated vibe. There's some surprise and delight as you walk in with different interactions. And then when you sit and have your incredible meal that the chefs are cooking up, along with some craft cocktails, it's great entertainment, excellent singing, a live band, dancing, interaction, and the audience gets to pick the ending in this one.
Sorry, could you say that again?
That's right. The audience gets to pick the ending.
Is it like Survivor, you vote on the type of ending you want?
That's right.
How does that work?
The audience votes. There's a few choices they have. They get to pick. Majority rules.
Wow, that
Yep.
sounds really exciting. Nirmal, you
Oh,
know
fun.
now that that's people participation. That's like almost breaking the fourth wall again.
Is that still a thing? Break the fourth wall?
Break the fourth wall. We do it all the time.
That was the other phrase I had. Well, I used to say pipe and drape to him. He used to tell me about he wants to break the fourth wall because apparently that was a thing. What does that
Smash
even mean?
the fourth wall.
What does that even mean? Actually, what does that even mean? Because it was actually part of the entertainment strategy, right?
Yeah, the fourth wall is typically when you're sitting watching a show, you're watching the things happening on the stage, and there's that invisible wall. Whereas with many of our shows, there's that the dancers or singers, whoever, is like right next to you, interacting with you. That's breaking the fourth wall.
Before we do the next show, what we should do is create a thing called breaking the fifth wall, and just like leave it like that, so people think we're so far ahead.
What does that mean?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well that's great. I love that show. Well, I really loved that we were going up with a twist, and now we're moving down the list. But I think this might be from security because I think there's been a murder in the Manor.
Oh boy.
Dad jokes.
Oh, boy.
Gotta love them.
Does it feature Murder on the Dance Floor? I love that song.
Yeah. No.
What's it about, Richard? Come on, share the scoop.
Murder in the Manor is our take on a murder mystery. So it is light, even though we play on a little bit of a spooky vibe when you walk in. Think more like, I don't know, like Haunted Mansion, Scooby-Doo kind of fun, spooky. And there's a lot of comedy. So again, it's light, it's fun, and there's clues that the cast doesn't see right in front of them that the audience is going to be screaming, and trying to get them to help them solve the murder. So it's audience interactive by choice, of course. You can opt in or not. But the more you opt in, the more fun you'll have.
So does the audience help solve it, or it's effectively they're helping the cast solve it?
They're helping the cast solve it.
Because I don't like when I don't know the ending of something. Is there a way to get a cheat code? Well, that was fun. Actually, now that we've solved what that murder in the Manor was, Richard. This
Without
was
Murder on the Dance Floor, the song.
Exactly.
Apparently that was shut down.
This next one feels like we need two people to talk about it. Duets.
Duets, I'm actually really excited about because in many ways it's an expansion of our live music program. You might remember when we started, we had 5 live musicians on board the ship. We have now got a 5-piece guest artist band, a trio, generally Latin, a duo that can play anything, buskers off the streets of Edinburgh. Now this is the next iteration of how we're expanding the live music program by embarking on a journey of jazz. We just haven't touched on that yet. And these jazz-infused hits are famous duets from rock, from Motown, contemporary, and I think sailors are going to love it.
So jazz is new. Like, I feel like that's an interesting evolution there. What's going on? Were you just too slow to do it before? Why is it now there?
I think it's just part of our continuing evolution and expanding in our attempt to reach all of our sailors. Having a new genre like jazz, which is so popular, it's just the right time and the right thing to do.
I think that he's going to practice jazz hands all the time now.
That's true. Although I keep looking at this picture they have, and I keep wondering, is that microphone better than a regular microphone? Am I putting you on the spot?
Those are the oldies but
Yeah.
goodies. There is a certain vibe to these mics that bring that nostalgia thing.
Yeah.
And so, but no, we're not using those.
Okay.
I think you two should do a duet together. Love to see what you come up with.
I'm sure people would pay a lot of money to see that.
Well, so far I've loved what you've revealed. It's completely transformative. This next one is shocking though. Electric.
Well, you know, we love to throw a good party at Virgin Voyages, and we've had some really good success with our parties, from Scarlet Night to the PJ Party, We Fancy, Club Rubik's, and so we felt that we needed to do something new for Brilliant Lady. And so we chose Electric, which is our version of a glow party. We know sailors love to bring things for different events, and so they'll get the opportunity to bring their best neon. We will glow up the entire Manor. We'll have a glowy photo booth, a jellyfish parade of sorts. It's going to be really, really a great time. And of course, electric.
With the electric slide?
100%.
Oh.
I've never heard of a jellyfish parade of sorts. That's got me thinking, what does that actually mean, basically? Do you want to reveal anything more about that?
Sure, imagine glowy jellyfish all over the room floating around amongst the sailors.
Now, what you don't know, people, is that Nirmal loves a good piece of glowing up, basically. Neon is one of his favorite things, because at every employee/crew event, he brings his little glow up. Nirmal, are you excited about this one?
I am excited about this one. What he's talking about is that when we were looking at different places for the ships to go, we went to Ibiza. And obviously, as you know, our Barcelona ship does an overnight in Ibiza. And we went out to one of the nightclubs, and we clearly got there too early. It was, I think, 1 a.m. and nothing was going on. So we ended up leaving at 1:30 and going to bed. But I bought myself for €20 a part of neon sunglasses that kind of glow up. So I'm all set for electric. So I'm ready to go.
You're good to go.
Best €20 I've ever spent, Richard.
That's excellent.
We're not going to get now sailor emails, though. You know, glow up items aren't allowed, right? Is it like you can bring your own glow on with you?
Bring them.
Okay.
Bring
very
all
exciting.
of the glowy.
Amazing. This next one, actually, Richard, will really help people like Nirmal who love to think they live in the past, basically. So tell us about Disco Reimagined, because how does one reimagine disco?
Well, everyone loves a good disco party, and we, in full transparency, we kind of threw one together on Scarlet and Valiant Lady with our Circus Disco. And so this is our opportunity to really take a step back and reimagine it and do it the way where it's a little more produced, a little more thought through. And so we're really excited to bring this one back. It'll feature great music, fun interactive stuff, performative moments. The sailors are also going to love this one.
Does that mean you're not finished it because you're trying to reimagine it right now?
That's right.
So, Nirmal, imagine you're in this one. What are you wearing?
My neon sunglasses are one trick. I wear them everywhere.
Seems like you
I think it would work here too, right?
They would work. I think you need some platform shoes.
Yeah. I've worn the neon thing to like 3 holiday parties in a row, so I think it would work here too. Be perfect.
You'd be
Like I
easily
said, best
spotted.
€20 I've ever spent.
Final question, if on that one. If someone doesn't like disco, what do we think of them?
I think they need to give it another chance.
It's been reimagined.
That's right.
Maybe you could blend duets and disco reimagined and see what happens.
There you go.
That's the end of my hard questions. I mean, what an incredible lineup. I can't help but feel not just excited for our sailors, but also for our crew to sort of have the chance to sort of see the energy of the brand. I mean, that is absolutely epic.
I think the crew is going to be very proud to have that show on that ship.
Do you have a favorite child already? Or a favorite, child is weird when we say it on Virgin Voyages, but do you have a favorite of those so far?
I think you'd have to say because it is the thing celebrating the whole reason all of us are here, right? This brand, this iconic brand, this is a nod to that brand.
Well, very exciting. Nirmal, how do you feel about that?
Look, I talked about it before. I mean, you can't help but watch that show. And I just saw the workshop and just feel so proud to be associated with this brand. And I know our sailors feel the same way. A lot of people that come on our ships, a lot of repeat sailors, even our new sailors, they just love being part of this brand. And I talked about this at the beginning, Nathan. I do feel like this brand has been built together with our sailors, and that's the magical thing about this. And we're all building this special company, special experience together. And you see a show like it reminds you of what a special company Virgin is, and how everyone gets to be a part of it and everyone gets to really put their mark on it. And so I'm just so thankful to all our sailors for giving us all that feedback and helping us create this.
It's interesting though when you look at the lineup. So there's a lot of new amazing shows, which is great. And I know we've done some sort of movement of other shows around the fleet. So even Valiant has a lovely new lineup going on at the moment, which is fantastic. So I do wonder though, is there anything you want to bring back though? Are there any fan favorites that you think we have to get on Brilliant? Because we know we have some people who've been on more than 10 sailings who go for a particular show because they love it. What are you going to bring back so we don't actually end up getting Leslie and Peter from New York mad at us?
That's right. I think the show we're bringing back that's been so popular across the fleet is Dual Reality. It's been our most successful show. It's the show that transferred from ship to shore. It's been touring for 1.5 years on land. So it seems like that is the right choice to bring to our newest ship. Combined with all of the new entertainment, I think it's an unprecedented package of entertainment for us. So we're really excited to have that back.
And one thing I've added, I've watched that show 15 times or so, maybe even more. And what's great about that show is that it actually does change a little bit depending on the cast, because all the casts have different tricks. And actually, even some of the original cast now have new tricks they've added in. I was just on Valiant and saw the team that does, I think it's called Teeterboard.
Yep.
Where they did the seesaw. They jump
that's
down.
an incredible teeterboard team on that ship.
And one of the guys on that ship, actually, every time I see him, I give him a big hug because he's been with us from the very beginning. And I love the fact that we've had so many crew here from the beginning building this brand with us. But he's got new tricks now, and he does this crazy thing where he like jumps up and then he lands basically on his back. And he didn't do that like 2 years ago. So, I think when people come to see Duel, if you've seen it before, I'd encourage you to come back and see it, because all of them have been refining their art and adding more and more tricks to what they do. So it's the same show with the same heart of it, but it's just a different feel when you see it with the different tricks now.
I have to tell you, on the teeter-totter?
Teeterboard.
Teeterboard, because that's a seesaw where I'm
Right.
from.
Close.
That moment is frightening. And I always sit there going, what if it's like lots of waves and it's really rough? Like, how did they balance that? Maybe we can talk about that another time, but it does overwhelm me.
Let me tell you, when the show was first pitched to us, that was in it. And I said, there's no way you're doing a teeterboard on a ship. And we debated it for a while. And hesitantly, I agreed to do it. But I was very worried about it as well. But look what it's turned into.
No, it makes me want to have one at home.
Yeah.
What else have you got? You must have some other things you're bringing back too, because I know there's one that's a really big fan favorite we don't want to lose though, right?
100%. So Scarlet Knight will be back. We have to have Scarlet Knight. We are going to do some updates to Scarlet Knight because, of course, our ship's going to be in Alaska for part of the year. And while I don't know about you guys, I'm game to jump in the pool in Alaska. Or sorry, walk in the pool in Alaska. But I don't know if everyone will be. So we're going to ratchet up the indoor version of Scarlet Knight for the time when we're in Alaska. We're really taking a look at the Red Room and Manor and seeing what we can do to add a little more production, some more surprise and delight, some more activations to create a little bit of a new twist on Scarlet Knight for that.
I think it's interesting because what Nirmal is just thinking about now is we're in Alaska, it's Scarlet Knight, people are getting in the pool, it's a cold plunge.
Yeah.
So basically it's health and well-being.
Wellness.
As you're in the evening. I cannot cold plunge, just so we're clear. I don't understand the craziness. So great for them if they do it.
Yes, absolutely.
But question for you, Nathan.
So just so we're clear how this works, that's not how this
Well,
works.
I thought I could just,
No.
No. I was inspired by Up with a Twist.
Richard.
With a twist.
What? Anything else? You got anything else for us, basically?
He's
Anything
pretty
else?
good.
Yeah, he is very good.
We, of course, have to also do PJ Party, our iconic PJ Party. Everyone, it's a great way to kick off the voyage. People look forward to it. You see people going to dinner wearing their pajamas or going to shows wearing their pajamas, and then they go to PJ Party, and it's that building connections, creating a space where people feel comfortable. It's magical. We love seeing it.
Just a reminder, if you do go to the PJ party, it's pajamas, not what you might normally wear to bed, just please pajamas. Because I don't actually wear a coordinated outfit to bed. I wear like normal clothes, and it freaks people out because they're going, you're just dressed like you are every day. And I went, yeah. So I just think it's great. Nirmal, favorite pair of pajamas, what would you wear? What does it look like?
I have a matching Snuggie with my son, Winnie the Pooh Snuggie. So.
Sometimes you get information about your CEO you just didn't really need, do you? Anyway, so I love those fan favorites. It's great they're back. Obviously, there's going to be some other little surprises you've got, but here's the thing that we've not talked about. One of the most revolutionary things that you did when you created all of the entertainment experiences across the ship was literally take the cruise director role and send it out to sea. So the Happenings cast have become world famous. They do incredible things. Are they part of Brilliant Lady, or have you given up the ghost and brought a cruise director back?
No chance we're bringing a cruise director back. The Happenings cast is a very proud accomplishment. I think that we've all participated in the evolution of that program. And yeah, it is expanding. We've learned a lot about the program. We learned some things like a lot of our program when we started, people really loved it, but it was for smaller groups of sailors, which was part of the magic of it because they really got to connect with the Happenings cast. But then after a while, we realized, as great as it is, there's a lot of other sailors that now don't have something to do at that time. So in the last year, we've added some higher capacity happenings, more in the game showy, participatory vibe. And so things like Last One Standing and Double Trouble, you can get a couple hundred people at these events. And so now we have, again, we use that word balance, that balance of there are still those intimate things, and we are developing more of those, but also more of the higher capacity things, which also gives more exposure to the Happenings and the sailors more exposure to that cast, because they are amazing. They are your social guides. They help make the magic happen. They can make all kinds of great things happen for you on the voyage. So the more you get to know them, the more fun you're gonna have.
It's one thing we hear over and over again. People love the Happenings cast program. We've got some really talented crew members that actually are part of our Happenings cast. And they do such a wonderful job in making people feel welcome, making sure people feel at home here, and making sure people have some fun. And that's the great thing about it. You know, Richard's right. We took a bit of a risk by saying no cruise director. And sometimes we actually get people who've been on other cruise lines or used to sailing other cruise lines, and they come on board and they get a bit nervous and saying, well, where's the cruise director? And where are the announcements? Tell me what's going on. And what you're able to do is to take that same activity of a cruise director and now have it spread across 12 people, which means you can have a much better time on board. And actually what I hear over and over again is people love the Happenings cast, and sometimes people will actually come to certain ships based on who the Happenings cast are going to be.
I think that is actually a true statement about the fact that they are the enablers of joy and excitement and connection. And I think what you just said, which is incredibly powerful as well, is that idea of choosing your own speed of vacation.
Yep.
There are small and intimate events, there are mid-size events, and there are moments which actually bring everyone together like Scarlet Night. But if you look at the range of activities the Happenings cast do, how many of the things they do on board the ship would you say are new versus old? And when you get onto a longer voyage, are there even more options that come with the Happenings cast?
That's a great point, Nathan. That's so when we started doing our repos, and we all had the realization, wow, we need a lot more things for people.
That's a very interesting word, repo. Do you mean? I mean, is that like a buzzword? Do we need
It is repositioning or transatlantic.
Got it.
Yes. So
I think there's a lovelier way to say, like, the beautiful sailing across the ocean
That's
to
right.
explore new worlds.
The modern romance of sailing across
Exactly.
the ocean.
Exactly.
Yes.
All those days at sea require us to have more things for them to do. And we while we've been a buttoned up program where we've really tried to be thoughtful about what experiences we put on the ship, we gave a little more flexibility to our cast on these voyages. And from that have come a number of new activations that we've been able to keep and make part of our program. So it's been a collaborative process. They own a piece of it in that they feel passionate about it. So therefore it's a great experience for the sailors. And so, yeah, more activities. I think on Brilliant Lady, you'll have a combination, again, of things that people are familiar with. Yes, we'll have Grog Walk and Shot for Shot and Play Stampede and all those things that people love. And there's going to be some new ones as well.
What's your favorite Happenings cast event? Not person, because I know that would
I
be...
was like, well, don't ask me that.
That would be problematic. What's your favorite event?
Oh, I like shot for shot. I always like seeing people actually taking that class because it's fun, it's exciting, and you also get to learn how to make different cocktails. I actually recently did the balancer workout. Richard's also been putting in new activations with the Happenings cast, including more workouts. So I did the balancer workout on the perch and really enjoyed that. I like the tea, spill the tea activation that we do. Risky Quizness is always fun. So I actually didn't really answer your question, did I?
No, you didn't
No.
choose a favorite, but that's
No.
what CEOs do, don't they? They
Yeah.
sort of say everything's amazing. So I get that. Yours? What's your favorite?
I think VHS is one of my favorites
yes.
because again, it's playful. It is a playful take on a wellness activity, and I think sailors really enjoy it. Again, they can bring something, they can wear something special, their leg warmers or headbands or whatever they want to wear. And again, they get to have fun with the Happenings cast, but in a wellness-oriented way.
VHS is very interesting because we talked earlier about what's different about Virgin Voyages Entertainment, and I talked about this idea of taking things and giving them a twist. And VHS, I remember when first time I saw that, I came up to Richard and I said, "This is amazing," because it's fun, but it's not what you expect, right? And that's exactly what our entertainment program is, which is why it's been so hard to communicate it. We've always had a trouble in being able to say to people, what's Virgin Voyages Entertainment? As people experience it, they understand it and they tell their friends what it's going to be about. But even then, it's still hard to say it's this or it's that. It is a fun twist on different experiences, and VHS away thinking that was a great time.
So I want to lean in now and change my legs around and actually say something, but it's hard because Billy will yell at me, so I won't do that, or Kathy will yell at me, one of the two of them will. But here's the thing, VHS, can we just talk about it for just 1 second? It's quite hard. I was surprised. I thought, you say it's fun? I was exhausted.
But you were laughing while you were doing it.
Well, yes, with the shaker weights, one does laugh quite a lot, for sure. That's
Yes.
that's
But
unavoidable.
that's the beauty of it. You got to work out and you laughed. Having a fun workout's great.
Yes. Look,
it's the whole wellness experience.
it definitely was a whole experience, and I did not bring leg warmers because I don't have any. But
I actually love the fact that more and more on the voyages now, people come with outfits for VHS. It's incredible. So people come for PJ, they come for VHS, they have outfits for all the parties now. We fancy. The Studio 72, people come just for outfits now too. It's cool.
So I unfortunately did talk to a sailor on the last voyage that I was on. Her name was Carol. She was actually from Wisconsin of all places. So I said, "Oh, you must be going to VHS with what you're wearing." And she said, "Sorry?" I was like, "Oh my Lanta. I can't believe I just did that," basically. So what I love about the Happenings cast, they are the enablers of fun and joy. I think the range of activities you've talked about are brilliant. So think about that as the foundation. When you get on board the ship, what you're saying is they are effectively the instigators who make everyday magic happen for people so they can enjoy it. Your next level is basically those shows that people love that have come back, basically. The things like Dual Reality, the Pajama Party, those amazing epic nights at Scarlet Night that feel like they go on forever. And the ship turns red, but you know you're immersed in that. And that story of the mermaid and the octopus goddess. And then the last stuff is all the new things. What an epic lineup. Are you done yet, though? Is there anything else you'd like to tell people before we wrap up today? Because you always have tricks up your sleeve, so I'm wondering if there's something. Maybe there's not. I'm just checking.
There is one more thing.
You sound like Steve
Actually,
Jobs.
I didn't even know this. There is?
There's one more thing. Every ship has its own diva show, and Brilliant Lady will too.
Wow. Oh. That is very interesting. So I love a little sort of what you call Easter egg at the end. So okay, here we go. This is it. We are literally counting down now before Brilliant Lady is ready. Are you going to be ready? You got a shipload of stuff to do before she gets here, man.
Yeah, we're gonna be ready. Of course we are.
Let's say it again really confidently to the camera.
Yeah, we're gonna be ready.
No, do you feel good? Do you feel like everything is going in the way you want it to? Are you feeling like it is going to happen?
It will 100% happen because it always does. It is fast and furious, and the team is working incredibly hard to make all of this happen. So every time you say Richard, it is the team, because these guys, it's incredible the amount of work they churn out, the brain power, the horsepower. It's incredible.
How many people are working on it, Richard? Like, if you think about the total group, because you are right, you are an incredibly big champion of your crew and all the work they do. But how many people are involved in creating what's going on Brilliant Lady?
Literally all of them. From Pepper leading the creative process, James is finding the casts, Sam has to figure out how all the technical things work, Jeremy's getting all the music in, and then you have coordinators that are contracting the casts. You have Caitlin in our wardrobe department creating and guiding the process of making the costumes that are repeatable and serviceable. It goes on and on. Rehearsal stage managers, it's endless. Everyone on the team is part of the process and working incredibly hard.
I gotta say, I get a lot of kudos to the entertainment team. And also the cast. I mean, we get some incredibly talented crew members to join us, because these shows that we create, they're not for any kind of cast member. You have to be an extremely talented singer, dancer, acrobat, performer. And I'm always just so touched. And every time I come on our ships and I look at our entertainment and I look at these talented performers, and I think, wow, these guys could be anywhere. They could be in world-class productions in Vegas or anywhere around the world, but they're choosing to be here on Virgin Voyages, and I'm just so thankful to all of them for being part of this journey with us. But it's just remarkable how talented this group of people are, even on the creative side, and Richard's team in being able to put this together. Because when we started this little chat a while ago, I'm glad we eventually got to the reveal, by the way, because it took us a while to get there. But I did say to you, I gave Richard a ton of credit, because we said to Richard, we don't want to license shows, because anyone can license shows. We want you to go out and create things. And for anyone that's been in entrepreneurial environments, when you create things, it's scary, right? Because the reason you license things is because you know it works. And you say, okay, at least it won't be off the charts good, but it won't be off the charts bad. It'll be right in the middle, and it's very low risk to have to do that. To challenge Richard and the team to go and create things from scratch, there's a lot of risk associated with that, and they've been so up for that challenge, and they've had an incredible hit ratio, actually, if you really look at it. A lot of creative shows, there's a lot of creative shows that don't make it. But there isn't really a show that he's created for us that hasn't really worked. Yeah, we've had a few we've had to tweak here and there. We've had to shorten a few here and there. Some of them were too long at the beginning, shortened them. But it's an incredibly ambitious program. And I'm just so proud of this team of people that put this together, and so proud of the cast that come together to make this happen.
So feedback is a gift, and Nirmal told me that this thing's been running too long, so we're about to wrap up. Because they're actually even doing this thingy over here, which I thought was a helicopter, but it means wrap up. So before we do that, here's the I want to challenge one thing that Nirmal just said.
Okay.
He talked about our amazing crew and the talented people that come who could work in world-class places. Just to remind you, we've won World's Best a number of times for Condé Nast Traveler, for a beautiful Travel and Leisure magazine, that this is the world's best experience. We know entertainment is one of the top 3 reasons people choose the Voyages. And as you look at the future, how excited are you both about what's coming?
I'm giddy about it. I can't wait for everyone to be able to see these things we're dreaming of. I just cannot wait.
No, me too, actually. I'm so excited about it. And you're right, actually. We do offer a world-class experience on board these ships, so I should not sell ourselves short. But it does remind me, actually, when we first started this journey, and I actually said to Richard when I said this is the ambition, and I said, can we get the right kind of talent to do this? Because typically, really good performers, you don't find them on ships. It's at least hard to get them to come on ships, right? And
It's hard.
we've developed a real reputation now for being a wonderful place for artists to come on board, right? And that's a great thing that we see right across the board, right? And I think Brilliant Lady in particular, as we're doing our casting now, when we first did our casting for Scarlet Lady way back when, it's such a different vibe now for us out in the casting market, right? You want to touch on that? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that we as a company have been so focused on our crew experience, and for us, it starts in our auditions. We've had a number of emails from people that have attended our auditions, which are not always a pleasant experience, by the way. It is cutthroat at these things. But our team, James Tuow and team, have created such an environment where people feel welcome and seen and heard and considered, where many times they're just tossed right away. And I think we take great pride in that. And I think it starts there in that room, and that's part of the reputation that we've earned in the community of performers.
Yeah, and I love hearing stories like that, because we've talked a lot about our crew and how special our crew are, and we talk a lot about our F&B crew, or our housekeeping crew, or our back of house crew, but it all that same spirit we have about making sure we take care of our crew extends into our entertainment teams as well, which is also why I think we've been able to attract such great talent to be on our ships. And so just really proud of Richard and team for what they've been able to achieve.
Well, you heard it here first, even though it took about an hour to get to it. We're very grateful that you spent some time with us today. It is a really exciting time. We hope that you love what you hear and that you'll come and join us on Brilliant Lady. She's open for bookings right now. The incredible season starts in September out of New York. This really will be the ship that gets everybody talking and will make some waves. You don't want to miss it. You really don't. So thank you. We'll see you on board. And thank you both for being here today because it's going to be brilliant.